Taylor Wright disappeared after spending the day with her close friend, Ashley McArthur. At first, Ashley said nothing unusual happened, but missing money, strange phone activity, and shifting timelines began to raise questions. Taylor had trusted Ashley at a critical moment, and that trust became the center of the investigation. With no body and no weapon, the case seemed thin, yet the evidence kept quietly growing. When investigators finally confronted Ashley, one recorded moment changed everything. What surfaced next forced everyone to rethink who Taylor was with that day and what Ashley was hiding.
A couple hours into the search, officers noticed an area that had some foliage on it that didn't really match. And when they moved the bushes and the branches, they could see what they thought was a human skull sticking up in a mix of what appeared to be potting soil and concrete. After we found the skull, we were able to put the skeletal remains together, and we actually found a necklace that Taylor had.
Taylor Wright had spent years solving crimes as a police officer, and later as a private investigator. In September 2017, just as she was moving in with her girlfriend Cassandra Waller and preparing to start over, she suddenly vanished. She had gone out to run errands with her close friend Ashley McArthur and never came back. At the same time, Taylor was facing a tense court battle with her ex-husband and had been ordered to bring $25,000 in cash to court, adding intense pressure to an already fragile moment in her life. Taylor Wright was 33 years old and lived in Pensacola, Florida. She had once been a police officer and later became a private investigator. Her life had never been easy, but she learned early how to survive hard situations. As a child, she moved through the foster care system and learned not to depend on stability. Everything changed when a neighbor took her in and gave her a real home. That support pushed Taylor forward and helped her believe she could build something better for herself. She grew into someone tough, direct, and driven. People who worked with her said she was fearless and social, always talking and always pushing forward. Taylor joined the police department and worked different periods over several years. She took pride in wearing the badge and in helping people. Later, when law enforcement no longer felt like the right place for her, she walked away and chose a new path. She became a private investigator, a job that let her stay close to the work she loved while staying independent. Taylor trusted her instincts and relied on her own judgment. She did not disappear without telling people. She did not walk away from her life quietly. That fact would later haunt everyone who loved her. Taylor married Jeff Wright, a Marine, after they met and fell fast into a strong relationship. They shared energy, strength, and a love for challenge. When their son Drake was born, Taylor became deeply focused on motherhood. Friends described her as present, protective, and fully devoted. Over time, things changed. The marriage began to strain after moves, stress, and growing distance. When they decided to divorce, it did not happen calmly. The split turned into a long legal fight filled with anger and resentment. Custody became the center of the battle. Money became another weapon. Taylor believed a large settlement from before the marriage belonged only to her. The court disagreed and froze assets. Somehow, Taylor withdrew the money anyway. That decision placed her in serious legal danger. A judge ordered her to bring $25,000 in cash to the next court hearing. That hearing was only days away. Taylor was under intense pressure. She had lost her police career after an arrest tied to a domestic dispute, even though charges were later dropped. No department would hire her again. Without steady work or stable housing, she agreed to give Jeff full custody of their son. It was not what she wanted, and it weighed heavily on her. The court date loomed closer, and Taylor felt trapped between past mistakes and an uncertain future. Despite the chaos, Taylor tried to restart her life. She found work as a private investigator and took cases that required focus and patience. She also began a relationship with Cassandra Waller, a school administrator. Their relationship had problems early on, including trust issues and Taylor's occasional drug use, but they worked through it. By September 2017, they decided to move in together. Taylor packed her belongings and planned a fresh start. That weekend was supposed to be about change and hope. Cassandra helped her move and believed they were building something stable. At the same time, Taylor was still dealing with the court order and the missing money. She needed funds quickly and quietly. She trusted a close friend, Ashley McArthur, to help her handle financial issues. Ashley had worked as a crime scene technician and understood law enforcement systems. Taylor believed Ashley was someone she could rely on, and that trust would become the most dangerous decision of her life. As Taylor prepared to face court and fight for her future, she also believed she was surrounded by people who cared about her. She did not know how fragile that safety truly was. On September 8, 2017, Taylor left to run errands with Ashley McArthur. It was the last day anyone saw her alive. That evening, Taylor failed to return home and missed dinner plans with Cassandra. Hours later, Cassandra received a long text message from Taylor's phone saying she needed space and time to think. The message felt wrong. The words did not sound like Taylor. The tone was distant and formal. Cassandra believed immediately that something was off. Taylor was days away from a court hearing and in the middle of moving homes. She would not walk away without contact. Ashley told police that Taylor had been emotional that day and claimed they had gone horseback riding. She said Taylor left alone later to get a drink. That story created early confusion. Police initially believed Taylor may have chosen to disappear. They found her car at home and all her personal items untouched. There were reports of sightings, but nothing confirmed. Cassandra insisted the text message was fake and that Taylor would never abandon her child or her plans. Friends and former coworkers agreed. Taylor talked often and stayed connected. Silence was not normal for her. As days passed with no word, fear replaced hope. What looked like a voluntary break began to feel like something darker. Police began checking details that did not fit. There was no record of any ride service picking Taylor up. Her phone activity stopped. Then investigators uncovered a major financial clue. Weeks before Taylor vanished, Ashley had deposited a cashier's check for $34,000 made out to Taylor into her own account. The signatures did not match Taylor's known handwriting. The money was removed and later spent. Investigators learned Taylor had been trying to get that money back. Ashley claimed Taylor was hiding funds to regain custody of her son. That explanation raised more questions than answers. Cell phone records placed Ashley at a family-owned farm in Cantonment on the day she claimed to be elsewhere. Police obtained search warrants and brought Ashley in for questioning. She remained calm and denied harming Taylor.
The only one that was with her on this day at this farm that you did not disclose to us.
I didn't do anything to
You say if she's at that farm, we're going to find her because we're executing a search warrant out there right now.
Minutes after she left the station, a search team found human remains buried under concrete and soil near a fence line on the farm. A bullet necklace found with the body confirmed it was Taylor. She had been shot in the back of the head. The discovery shattered every remaining doubt. The friend who knew the system had used it to hide the truth, and Taylor's disappearance was no longer a mystery, but a crime that was only beginning to unfold. Ashley McArthur was arrested. The arrest shocked many people who knew Ashley, especially those who trusted her background in law enforcement work. She was charged with first-degree premeditated murder and taken into custody as detectives continued reviewing her financial history, phone records, and movements after Taylor vanished. Before the murder case even reached trial, Ashley was already facing serious legal trouble for unrelated crimes tied to her family business. She had been skimming money from jukebox and pool table profits placed in bars and keeping the cash for herself. Investigators believed the theft had gone on for years and involved thousands of dollars. She was convicted of fraud and racketeering and sentenced to 7 years in prison. Even while serving that sentence, the murder case moved forward, carrying far heavier consequences. Attention quickly turned to Ashley's husband, Zach McArthur. Detectives wanted to know how much he knew and whether he had helped cover up anything. Zach insisted he had no role in Taylor's death and said he had no idea his wife was capable of murder. He listened as investigators explained phone data, money trails, and timelines, but he continued to push back. He believed Ashley was being misunderstood or falsely accused.
I mean, nobody deserves to ever get anything happened to him like that whatsoever. I don't know, buddy. I don't know what happened to her.
And, I'm asking you, as this investigation continues, whether it's text, phone records, computers, financials, is there going to be anything that hems you up or ties you
absolutely
to that?
nothing. None. I'm not that guy, man. You know, and you, Jason, goddamn, you know me.
But if you're in my shoes, this has to be done.
I'm right.
It has to be
I'm
done.
right. Y'all, I mean, I'm not that guy. I never have been. I'm never gonna be. I mean, there's applications on my table at home, and I've been going to interviews trying to get back in law enforcement. I'm not that guy. Never gonna be. I never have been. I'm a good person, man. I don't.
Zach said Ashley was not careless and would never commit such a violent act, even when. Police explained how Taylor's phone had been used after her disappearance. Zach struggled to accept it. His loyalty remained firm as the case moved toward trial, even while evidence continued to grow. The murder trial began in August 2019. Prosecutors laid out a clear theory from the start. They told the jury Ashley was the last person to see Taylor alive and had a strong reason to kill her. Taylor needed money urgently for an upcoming court hearing related to child custody and support. She had trusted Ashley with tens of thousands of dollars, believing it was being kept safe. Instead, the money had been deposited into Ashley's own account and spent. Prosecutors argued that when Taylor demanded the money back, Ashley panicked. The state said that confrontation led directly to Taylor's death. From the opening statements, the case centered on motive, opportunity, and calculated actions after the killing. Prosecutors showed the jury surveillance footage of Ashley buying soil and cement just one day after Taylor disappeared. They argued these were the same materials used to hide Taylor's body. Financial records were shown next, tracking the movement of the money Taylor had trusted Ashley to protect. Phone records placed Ashley near the family farm, at times she claimed to be somewhere else. Cell tower data showed Taylor's phone traveling with Ashley even after Taylor was already dead. Prosecutors explained that Ashley's training as a crime scene technician helped her understand how to hide evidence, not how to save a life. Each piece alone looked small, but together they formed a pattern that was hard to ignore. Assistant State Attorney Bridget Jensen spoke directly to the jury and made the state's position clear. She said Ashley had motive because of the missing money, opportunity because she was alone with Taylor, and knowledge because of her law enforcement background. She told the jury that Taylor had sent repeated messages asking for her money back because she needed it for court. Those messages showed urgency and fear, not a desire to disappear. Jensen said Ashley killed Taylor and then tried to erase her using concrete, soil, and lies. The state argued the murder was planned, not accidental, and carried out to stop Taylor from exposing the theft.
I believe Ashley McArthur felt backed into a corner because she did not have the money to give back to Taylor, and the only option she saw was to get rid of Taylor Wright.
Ashley's defense team argued the state had no direct physical evidence linking her to the killing. They pointed out that no murder weapon was ever found. They said no DNA placed Ashley at the burial site. Defense attorney John Barrasset told the jury they would not see proof that Ashley fired the shot that killed Taylor. He also suggested Taylor was emotionally unstable and possibly using drugs at the time she disappeared. The defense tried to raise doubt about the exact timeline of death and argued that circumstantial evidence was not enough to convict someone of first-degree murder. The trial took a darker turn when prosecutors called several of Ashley's friends to testify. They told the jury that Ashley had spoken openly about wanting to drug Taylor's beer to cause an overdose. One witness said Ashley later admitted the plan failed because Taylor spit the beer out after saying it tasted strange. According to testimony, Ashley then used a gun instead. Prosecutors reminded the jury that Taylor was shot in the back of the head, suggesting she never saw it coming. The defense tried to challenge the credibility of these witnesses, but their statements added weight to the state's theory. During testimony, a photo briefly appeared on the screen showing Ashley crouched in the woods, wearing hunting gear and aiming a shotgun. The image was visible only for a moment, but the defense immediately asked for a mistrial, saying it was unfairly prejudicial. The judge denied the request and gave the jury a curative instruction. The court noted that other evidence already showed Ashley owned firearms and had posed with them before. The trial continued, but the moment became a key issue in Ashley's later appeal. But that's not all. Prosecutors placed heavy focus on cell phone records. Data showed Taylor's phone pinging near Ashley's location even after Taylor was believed to be dead. On the day after the disappearance, the phone connected to a tower in Alabama near a wedding Ashley attended. Prosecutors argued this proved Ashley had Taylor's phone and was trying to create the illusion Taylor was still alive. Ashley later told police she never saw Taylor again after September 8th, but the phone data told a different story. There was no explanation that fit the facts without Ashley knowing exactly what had happened. After a week-long trial, the jury reviewed financial records, phone data, witness testimony, and surveillance footage. Just a few hours later, they returned with a verdict. Ashley Britt McArthur was found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. The courtroom went silent as the decision was read. The conviction carried a mandatory minimum sentence of life in prison. The judge sentenced Ashley accordingly, ordering the life term to be served alongside her existing fraud and racketeering sentence.
State of Florida versus Ashley Britt McArthur, case number 1717CF005844A. Verdict as to the charge in count 1, we the jury find the defendant Ashley McArthur guilty of first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm as charged in the indictment.
Ashley appealed the conviction, arguing the jury should never have seen the hunting photo, and that key evidence should have been excluded. She challenged the use of her statements to police, the cell phone records, and Taylor's text messages. In April 2021, the Florida First District Court of Appeal rejected every argument. The court ruled the photo was shown too briefly to affect the fairness of the trial. Judges also found Ashley had been properly advised of her Miranda rights, and that the text messages were allowed to show motive and timeline. The conviction and life sentence were upheld in full. After the appeal failed, Ashley McArthur was sent back to prison to serve her sentence. She has been held at Lowell Correctional Institution in Ocala, Florida, since September 2019, where she is serving a life sentence for first-degree murder, along with time for her fraud and racketeering convictions. Despite arguing that the trial was unfair because the jury briefly saw a photo of her holding a shotgun, appellate judges ruled the image was shown for only seconds and did not affect the outcome. As of now, Ashley McArthur remains behind bars, with no new trial granted and no reduction to her sentence. Taylor Wright never got the chance to tell her side of the story, and nothing can undo what was taken from her. The case ended with answers, but it left deep scars for everyone who loved her. What do you think about the evidence and the verdict in this case? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more real crime stories broken down clearly, like and subscribe for the next one.